roll, please.
Gretkin.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Shaner. Here. Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Here. Please stand for a moment of silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Interview for Adam Dean for the Library Board of Trustees. Adam, come on up. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve, please.
The name's Adam Dean. I'm a financial advisor with Baird Financial Wealth Management here in town, and I was reached out to serve on the board of the Library Trustees and felt it would be a good opportunity to serve my community. I have two girls that are 7 and 10 that love to read, so I figured it would be a good opportunity to continue. I know the library provides more than books and great service to this community. So,
Okay. Questions? How long you been with Baird?
a year.
Okay.
I was with Morgan Stanley prior to that for 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you a Sioux-Citian?
Yes.
Are you
Well,
good?
6 years.
Good. Great.
Thank you for applying.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll move to the consent agenda today. Those items are 3 through 18B. They can constitute the consent agenda. You can consider and pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is asked for by a council member. If you want to speak on an item as I read it, please come up. Remember to state your name and address for the record. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
3 is a reading of the city council minutes of June 28th, 2021. 4 is a motion acknowledging the June 22nd Board of Adjustment actions. 5 are a resolution adopting the second quarter supplement to the municipal code. I want to go back to the Board of Adjustment actions and just for the record state that I thought they made a very good decision on that particular item. If you remember, it was a liquor store in a pretty heavily dense part of the town that we don't need, in my opinion, any more liquor licenses, so appreciate that. 6 is a resolution certifying the state treasurer the population of Elk Creek annexation into the city of Sioux City. 7 is a motion accepting the annual evaluation of the library director. 8 is a motion authorizing staff to begin negotiations with SRF Consulting to conduct a mobility study for the transit system.
I have a question for Mr. Collette. So you put out the request for proposal, and there were how many that?
We received, Mike Collette, Assistant City Manager, we received 2 proposals.
Okay. You're satisfied with the
We are.
one that they're reaching out to?
We received a proposal from a company we currently work with on a regular basis for smaller engagements, as well as SRF, and went through and evaluated those.
I appreciate you're doing the mobility study. I think it's needed, and
I do too.
I think some good things will come out of it. So
We're pretty excited about what it's going to bring.
thank you.
Bet.
9 is a resolution amending the water and underground utilities payroll complement by adding 1 full-time labor super, 1 full-time automotive equipment operator, and 2 full-time utility workers and 1 full-time maintenance worker. I'd like to separate vote on that, please.
Moore.
Aye.
Shaner. Aye. Scott.
No.
Waters.
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
10 are actions relating to grants. A is a resolution authorizing an application for the Federal Transit Administration for funding under the American Rescue Plan Act. B is a resolution authorizing funding for the Department of Treasury for coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. 11 are actions.
May I ask a question? That's on 10B. May I just have a review of what our timeline is for the spending? Is it December 31 of 2024?
I'll have to find out. I believe so.
But the projects have to be,
Bid. They don't have to, they're encumbered.
Yes, projects have to be.
They don't have to be completed, but they have to be.
okay. All right, thank you.
11 are actions relating to street closures. A is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area July 24th and 25th for the Firehouse Bar's Christmas July barbecue cook-off fundraiser benefiting Toys for Tots. B is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area July 30th through August 1st for the Firehouse Bar fundraiser for the Missouri River Boat Club. Civil penalties and suspensions, items 12A to D are resolutions assessing $500 penalties against the following businesses for violations of the beer, wine, and liquor laws. A is Koi Sushi and Steakhouse. B is Hy-Vee. C is Palmer Candy Company. D is Whispering Creek. I should abstain because I am a part owner, but they deserve a fine, so I'm not going to.
Mayor, I need to abstain for conflict of interest on 12C, Palmer Candy.
Okay. 13 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution awarding a contract to Steve Harris Construction for the Big Sioux Highway 12 Trail Project. B is a resolution approving a third amendment to the development agreement with the Expo Center regarding the termination release of tax credit purchase agreement.
I have a question for Matt on this one. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what the third amendment does. If you could just give us a brief explanation. It looks like it's an additional $100,000 to the Expo Center.
Yeah, Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director. So we had an agreement with U.S. Bank to transfer tax credits if we needed that, but we were issued a refundable tax credit, so the Expo Center got a full $1 million. So by editing the development agreement, we're just terminating the arrangement with U.S. Bank, and the Expo Center gets to keep the full $1 million.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
C is a resolution authorizing the release of mortgage with Bill Amable III for 1506 Grandview Boulevard under the Rental Rehabilitation Program. D is a resolution supporting an Iowa Economic Development Authority application to the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program by residents at Lakeport Commons.
Mayor, this is another example of, this is the one that the project's 40 new apartment units. And it's going to increase housing units that we so desperately need in Sioux City. So that's a good program. I'm glad it's working. I'm glad developers are making application to the state.
I was trying to think of where this is. Is this across the street from Koskovich and Murphy, what they want to do with the storage?
Yes, it's
Right.
behind
So
Right behind the stores?
Coles.
Yeah, and there's that turn or roundabout right there.
thanks.
14 are actions authorizing payments. A is a resolution authorizing payment to the Sioux City Community School District for the Hunt Elementary School Site Improvement Project. I'd like to vote on that. Sorry, we give land away and, you know, I just can't vote for those, Dan. I'm sorry. I know that.
Abstaining.
Shaner. Aye. Scott.
No.
Waters.
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
Moore.
Conflict of interest, I'm abstaining.
Okay, B is a resolution authorizing payment to RP Constructors for the 33rd Street paving project. C is a resolution authorizing payment to Nystrom Electric for the Tyson Event Center LLFRC and Convention Center Fire Alarm Replacement Project. D is a resolution approving payment and satisfaction of a judgment to Kynes Vader and the Clerk of District Court. 15 are actions relating to property. A is a resolution proposing to sell a portion of 1702 George Street. The petitioner's Braun Nancy L. Revocable Trust. The B is a resolution inviting proposals for land in the Rose Hill Urban Renewal Area, announcing the intent to accept the proposal of Jeffrey and Heather Bowden and scheduling a hearing. 16 is a purchasing. A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Athletica Sports for hockey rink shielding at the Tyson Event Center. B is a resolution authorizing the police department to purchase 2 laptop computers for the crimes against persons and crimes against property units. 17 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list, come forward if you have questions. 18 are receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items?
Here on item 17A to subparagraph E, Hard Rock, I need to abstain.
Passes 5-0. The city clerk's requests a motion to appoint two of the following applicants to the airport Board of Trustees. Reapplicant Dave Kaplan, new applicants Faith Bradham and Kevin Skip Purley. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll move that we approve the reapplicant David Kaplan and the new applicant Kevin Purley.
Second.
I would say I do have concerns. I would just ask if this vote would go through, that Mr. Kaplan, I think he's a great job and does a great job for the airport board. I would just really want to encourage us to make sure that he's able to participate to the fullest extent that we would want. I don't think he's here, but just with his new position and traveling as much as he is, I definitely would have that concern that he's able to be a present board member.
I'd like to split the vote. I like Dave Kaplan. He's a great guy, but we talk about involving young people, and I think we have a chance to do that, and I am concerned with that new job, but I'm sure he'll still make it, but I still would like to split the vote.
That's fine. So my first motion then will be to appoint David Kaplan.
Okay. Scott?
No, and again, it's not because I have any problem with Dave Kaplan. I think he's a good guy, but
I thought we had a second. I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you, Pete. Scott, I'll ask for your vote one more time then.
no.
Waters?
For a lot of those same reasons or ones I just stated, I would vote no.
Gretkin?
Yes, aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner? No.
I would move Skip Kevin, or Kevin Skip Purley. I only know him by Skip, but
Second.
Kevin.
Second.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Gretkin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner? Aye.
Sure, I would make a motion to accept Faith Broadham.
Second.
Waters?
Aye.
Gretkin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner? Aye. Scott?
Aye. 20 is a motion appointing Mark Baltuthis to the Events Facility and Tourism Advisory Board. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 21 is a motion reappointing Bruce Miller to the Events Facility and Tourism Advisory Board. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 22 is a motion appointing Lashana Moyle to the Human Rights Commission. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 23 is a motion appointing Donald Scarlett to the Human Rights Commission. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 24 is a motion reappointing Michelle Boston Ellis to the Planning and Zoning Commission and Board of Adjustment. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 25 is a hearing and ordinance rezoning 5901 and a half Stone Avenue. Petitioners Jay Lehman, P&Z recommends approval. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone can be heard.
Ryan Forster, City Planner. Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0-1 with Ryan Ross abstaining, and they recommended to approve.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anyone else to be
Is he
heard?
paying you to be here on his behalf today? No?
Hearing is now closed. Passes 5-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
No.
That.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner. Aye. Scott.
Aye. I'll move second and third.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 26, hearing and resolution approving a proposal to sell property and authorizing a deed the property abutting 1213 South Royce Street. The petitioner's Isla Jean Barr. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 27, hearing and resolution approving a proposal to grant a permanent, non-exclusive easement property at 4300 Donner Avenue. The petitioner is Chesterman Company. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing's now open. Anyone want to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 28 is a hearing and resolution approving a proposal to grant a permanent non-exclusive easement property at 4300 Donner Avenue. Petitioners Brickyard Developers. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone want to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 29 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specifications for the transit maintenance garage parking lot repair project. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing's open. Anyone to be heard? Or maybe I don't know. Mike, this came up where's Mike at? Where's this at? I thought I knew, but now I'm.
Transit maintenance garage on 4th Street.
We did a whole bunch of concrete there last year.
We haven't done.
You haven't done any concrete repair there in the last couple of years?
Just associated with the fuel tank. That's it. Otherwise, it's just been asphalt patching.
Huh?
It's just been asphalt patching.
Okay. Hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 30 is hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the annual sidewalk ramp project. I'll move that.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? The hearing is now open. Hearing is now closed. Passes 5-0. 31 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the Siouxland Expo Center parking lot expansion. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 32 is a hearing and resolution approving a lease of Center Street Park to Westside Little League. I'll move that.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? The hearing is now open. Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 33 is the resolution adopting a policy for payment of electrical services at city ball fields leased with concession facilities and rescinding resolution number 2018-0835. Tell us the difference. I'll move that.
Second.
Matt, what's the big difference here other than the dollar amount? Is that what you're telling us?
There's no difference, actually. It's just now that Westside Little League is managing Center Street Park.
That's what I'm saying.
Just a formality. Yep.
Matt, did you, you took a week off and missed us here, and so you had to put all these, spend a little more time?
Sorry for all the items.
You're good.
That.
For more.
Alex comment. Yeah, it was a good one. You lose track. You're on 34.
Passes 5-0. 34 is a resolution approving a first amendment to the lease agreement with Siouxland Youth Athletics at the Riverside Recreational Sports Complex. I'll move it.
Second.
We used to do these all in a big deal until the city attorney.
I think she just said you're welcome.
Passes 5-0. 35 is a resolution approving a first amendment to the lease with Headed Little League at Headed Ballparks. I'll move that.
Second, sorry. Sorry. I'm asleep at the wheel. Yeah, exactly.
You ready? Got it?
Passes 5-0. 36 is a resolution approving a first amendment to the lease agreement with Westside Little League at Kirk, Hanson Park and Goldie, Beck Park. I'll move that.
Second.
Pass 5-0. 37 is a resolution approving a first amendment to the lease with the Morningside Little League and Strikers Complex in Pulaski Park. I'll move that.
Second.
These amendments are just incorporating the electrical services, correct?
Passes 5-0. 38 is a resolution approving first amendment to the lease agreement with the Hubbard Park Association at Hubbard Park. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 40 is a resolution approving a first amendment to the lease agreement with Siouxland Soccer Foundation at the Riverside Sports Complex. I'll move that.
Second.
Did we miss 39?
Did.
I'm sorry. Okay, we'll go back to 39. Resolution approving a first amendment to the lease agreement with Tri-State Revolution Soccer Club for Ruger Soccer Field.
Second.
Get out of here. Passes 5-0. 40 is resolution approving first amendment to the lease agreement with Siouxland Soccer Foundation at the Riverside Sports Complex. I'll move that.
Second.
Hey, Matt. Just thinking out loud about all of these, going through them, it just has me thinking, do most of these operations in the concession use fountain drinks? Are they cans, bottles, anything? And I guess
I would imagine they use fountain. I think it's mostly bottles and cans, but
It is.
yeah.
okay, that's what I figured. And I guess the line of thought of kind of where I'm going is, I don't know. I saw this all over Okoboji, and it just got me frustrated and got me thinking more. I know we're doing more recycling downtown, trying to encourage that, but I really wonder at all of these parks, these venues that solely use bottles and things that are redeemable, I wish that we could encourage and have just as many recycle bins out there as there are trash cans, because it's like, gosh, then you could have these little leagues bring all of that to Hope Redemption or somewhere and be able to collect that revenue.
Yeah, and some of them might do it. I have to follow up. We'll put a bug in everybody's ear, and if they're
Because
not
it's
doing
like,
it,
even if
encourage it.
we as a city could invest in that infrastructure to put one of our dual recycle cans out there, or a different one, or a standalone, I don't care. I'm just thinking that it's like, gosh, I'm happy that these happen, and I'm happy that we fund them and help try to make them whole. But I just wonder, like, gosh, with a little bit of work, they could be offsetting some of their expenses all summer long by collecting those bottles and those cans and just reduce the waste and contamination of our landfills.
Yeah, we will reach out and encourage them to do that.
And just see how we can partner on it. I mean, like I said, if it's infrastructure or whatever we need.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure at the Redemption Center, because I know Kevin Nygaard was working on some of that with Tyson to encourage them to capture theirs, or maybe it was Hard Rock, but I just keep thinking that that's money that's wasted, and then it goes to our landfills, and that just makes me infuriated.
Yeah, with some of the volumes sold there, that they'd be smart to look into doing the redemption. So
Yeah, pay for some of their
So
stuff.
would it at Green Valley,
Yeah,
but they don't, on the course have it, they do up clubhouse, but
Nowhere along
Yeah,
the way.
they collect them in the morning, and they take them back to the maintenance shed, and they've got like a little, what do I want to say, sunshine fund, and if something happens and they need to send out flowers or something, for coffee machine breaks down, they've got something to build or buy the coffee machine. So that's what they do with their cans. They do, unless somebody else gets a hold of them first.
yeah.
They collect them, I think, every day.
I just think that there's real potential, and it just upsets me. I guess I was thinking about it mostly. I was up in Okoboji on the boardwalk, and it's like you have all these trash cans, and people just throw cans and bottles in it. Like,
So no recycle bins there either?
no. And my dad's on the council, so trust me, I put a bug in his ear as well. But
yeah, we'll reach out and see what we can do.
okay. Thanks, man.
that passed 5-0. Citizen concerns, please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Who's first?
Ernie Colt, 4526 Perry Way. Got a couple of things. First of all, the dirt work that I had done in front of my house. A bunch of dirt clods, sticks, dirt all over the street, all over the sidewalk. I planted grass in it, still no grass. I called them out there to look at my driveway because it was 2 inches higher than my driveway, the street was. So I hired contractor to come out and grind that down. I want my place to look nice. And I noticed the people around the corner, they got sod. I got dirt clods and sticks and stones. Okay, that's one of my issues. My second issue is I've been harassed 3 different occasions by a city worker, and I've called our city manager, and I have not once got a return call from him. Not once. I got a call from some lady wanted me to go back to the scene to get a number off of a truck. Are you kidding me? No, of course you wouldn't, because you don't accept the calls. I specifically asked for Bob Padmore. You want me to look in my phone to tell you the date? I can, because I've called you several times, Bob. I never get a return call, okay? I'm tired of being harassed. I'm tired of being harassed by that individual, and something will be done about it. Okay?
Date of the calls, I'd appreciate it.
How about today I call you? Can we talk about it now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Are we going to deal with this issue?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay, this is the 3rd time I've called about it. Okay, and I'm getting tired of it.
Okay.
I drive around town, and when a particular truck harasses me, I don't need to put up with that. Okay? That's my second issue.
Ernie, how come around the corner they got sod?
Ernie, what's your address again?
4526 Perry Way. Everybody got sod when it was installed, but I was told that we don't do sod anymore. We get dirt now.
When
And
was
go ahead
it?
and plant your own grass seed in it, Ernie.
When did they do that work, or when did?
These are 2 different projects.
About 4 months ago, or a month ago. 4 weeks
Where'd
ago.
you put sod at? And don't even tell me Country Club Boulevard, and we don't do it on the rest of the town, because I'm probably not gonna be real happy about that.
Okay.
That's where we did it.
Yes, Gordon Fair, city engineer. These were 2 different projects on Country Club Boulevard. They did request sod, so we did the sod.
his project that was in front of his house was done years prior to that. And it was right on the corner because it was there's two different projects he was talking about. One did his driveway, one did Country Club Boulevard, and because he's on a corner lot.
Yeah, but I saw the dirt you took out. Crap, I drove by it the other day because it's on my way to it's unacceptable.
He had requested he was here a few weeks ago and asked for some.
Yeah, but you did it after that and it was crappy stuff.
I did not see it. I can.
Well, somebody did it. I drove by because it's on my way to my kids'
There's no
house.
denial that we didn't bring it out there.
It's full of
But I
rock
did
and
not see it.
everything else. You're not going to.
We brought him new dirt or we brought him sod?
You brought him crummy dirt.
Oh, okay.
To help with the condition of his soil there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because we can't just put sod on top of old grass. It has to be taken out.
Old grass, it's old sod. It was old dead sod that they put in to begin with. That's what it was. And then
So the
tell
sod
me
was,
that
so the sod was put in, but it
originally
didn't.
You did
installed.
get sod.
It was originally installed, yes. I let them use my yard for a laydown, okay? They were halfway up into my yard with all their stuff, okay? And I got pictures to show all that, and they replaced it all with sod. Well, they got to the end and they ran out, and so I got a bunch of dead stuff that never did grow, okay? And I kept trying and trying. I put more seed on it and water and everything. I could never get it to grow. So now I came in and I complained. I got dirt. I got clouds of dirt with some sticks in it and told to throw some grass seed on it. We don't do sod anymore. I don't think that's fair at all. I cleaned up the sidewalk. There was dirt all over the sidewalk and it rained. I have a lot of walkers and bikers that ride. I didn't want anybody to get hurt, right? That's safety first. I had dirt and mud in the street. I washed that all down, swept it all off. I did, 3/4 of the job for you guys. And then I, broke up all the dirt clods and everything that you left in there too, and picked up all the sticks and everything out of it. So most of the work's done. And then I planted the seed. Still don't have anything. Water twice a day, Been a lot easier just to put some sod in there like they were supposed to do in the beginning. I think I should get treated just the same as everybody else has been treated in that area.
Gordon, doesn't, when you have a contract and they're doing corners or whatever the construction job is, isn't that part of the contractor's responsibility?
Yes. You take care of what they're.
To put it back the way it was before
back
they
to
started?
original condition,
If
yeah.
it was sod, shouldn't it be sod?
Right. Sod was put down originally on this project.
It didn't grow.
It didn't grow. So when he came in a couple weeks ago to talk about it, we sent out, Dave arranged.
But if
that.
it didn't grow, wouldn't it be the contractor's responsibility to put some new stuff there?
Back then, yes.
But now we don't bid that, we just tell them.
No, when I say
No,
back
now
then,
we don't
I'm
do
saying
sod.
the project was 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So when it was there, it did grow for a period of time, and I guess since then it has died. So Dave arranged for some topsoil to be brought in, and that was brought in, and it was an arrangement made between them.
Ernie, did it die right away? Or if we're 4 years later, how come you came in now?
I got pictures of it. I can pull them out. I tried and tried, right? I got a nice yard. I like to have it nice. And I could not ever get that area to do anything.
Well, and that's why I'm surprised that you would wait the 5 years or whatever, until to come in and say it's not good.
Not be a problem, but now I'm to the point where, I've got $300 worth of grass seed planted out there over the years, and I've got nothing. I got dirt clods and weeds growing in my park.
So if the grass seed won't grow and you have $300 of seed there, do we think new sod will grow? I mean, if the other sod didn't? Is it just kind of the drainage of that area, or? I don't know.
Got good drainage.
I'm not a landscaper, so I don't understand.
I think if you keep it wet, Alex, sod will grow. But
Sod will grow
unfortunately,
anyway,
Ernie,
keep it wet.
my grandfather used to tell me all the time, unless there's an hour in a month, you'll never get grass seed to grow. Meaning,
The fall.
yeah, you can get it done in March and April and September and October, but May, June, July, and August, it's probably not gonna work unless you get water on it all the time, and it's really, it's a real challenge. Yeah.
Ernie, how big of an area is this?
Oh, it's
How big of an area?
5 feet by 12, 15 maybe. Not very big. All right, well, we'll see what we can do. Who's next?
Miranda Cazo, 652 Blue Stem. It's been 9 weeks since May 10th when a tainted and incomplete panel presented erroneous and profoundly unethical findings to an incomplete council, which then awarded a contract to an equally questionable contractor. Since then, I've invested hundreds of hours of research, interviewed dozens of people, and I've passed a lot of that on to you as well as my sources. I'm just curious if any of you guys have read any of that information and if you have any questions about the findings so far. A lot of information hiding from you guys in books out there. Today I'm going to reveal the most grotesque findings to date, the gut-wrenching stories that motivated me to dedicate so much time to this case. Officer Groves falsely claimed that there have been no issues with animal control despite 2 lawsuits, one petition in 2019 that got almost 3,000 signatures, another in 2021 that's reached almost 500 signatures, and at least one call to the police department, which resulted in Officer Hicks responding to that call. I mulled over these incidents, collected complaints over the last 9 weeks, and while there have been many personal property rights violated and instances of animal control officers being used to basically harass people that certain people don't get along with, nothing broke my heart as much as the instances of animal abuse that were brought to my attention. Though this is hearsay, I have been told that Rarrett occasionally gets animals in, specifically cats and small wild animals, that she doesn't want to deal with. These animals are then put in the freezer to die a long, painful death instead of using the city's resources that you pay for to ethically put these animals to sleep. And while this is hearsay, and I do need to protect the people that I have interviewed at this time, I did find some information that leads me to believe that this is true. She has to report all of the animals that come in, that go out, that are destroyed, that are adopted each year. In 2018, 777 cats were brought in, 375 were destroyed. It's pretty consistent with national averages. In 2019, 785 cats come in, again consistent, 325 are marked as destroyed. In 2020, when this alleged abuse was supposed to take place, 777 cats were brought in to animal control. 1 is marked as destroyed. So I do not have the authority to investigate all of this properly. I think you guys know I'm a hell of an investigator when I need to, but I do not have any ability to look into that. You guys do, and I'm asking that you do so immediately.
Just for clarity, I wanted to understand that number because then I'll call her later today. So there was the 700, it was fairly consistent with the numbers coming in. You're saying that then it was just 1 animal was destroyed in 2020?
Yep, and that is her documentation, not mine. And I don't want to be patronized and told that we're going to do better next time, that we're just going to forget this $2 million because millions of dollars have been spent since. And I got to be honest with you, when I'm up here speaking, I oftentimes feel like there's a literal foundational lack of information on your part in terms of how this bidding process is supposed to go. Basic terminology, basic processes that don't match anything else. And when I'm told legal, we'll look into it, we'll do better next time, millions of dollars have been spent. And the last time I was here, legal lied to me about something, and I provided a 21-page document proving that, and I've called Des Moines since. So it stops now, because this has been brought to the attention of other organizations, and I am not going to stop until this city is ran better. And when I know you don't understand foundational things like how it's supposed to be done, and I hear engineers up here talking about complicated things like fiber optic cables and concrete and rebar and multi-millions of dollars, I sit there shaking my head because I think there's no way they're getting this. This is the simplest RFP contract. I mean, this is only $2 million. It's not much over what wouldn't even require an RFP process, and it's done wrong. So everything from school administrators to waste management to to our roads and infrastructure, I am very concerned that this type of behavior is allowed. It's not fair to the taxpayers. It's not fair to the people that you represent.
I'll let you go a minute over.
Okay.
All right.
I look forward to talking to you guys next week.
Who's next?
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Solheim. I live at 2909 Garrettson Avenue in Sioux City, Iowa. I imagine you city council members are kind of sad to see me up here again, just as I am to be here. A year ago, I stood in front of you and pleaded that something be done about the fireworks in Sioux City. The pain and suffering forced upon our veterans afflicted with PTSD is, in my belief, unconscionable. And I thought that everyone agreed that it was reprehensible to force our heroes to relive the horrors of the past. It was surmised that the reason the fireworks were so bad last year was because of a cabin fever of sorts brought on by the COVID-19 and the stay-at-home mandates. Many thought that this year would not be so bad. Well, the numbers are in from the Sioux City Police Crime Analysis Department, and this year the numbers were worse. There were 383 complaints the city police officers were dispatched at, and that's a 25% increase over last year. 383 in 2001, 306 in 2020, and 170 in 2019. The hope that this year would not be as bad as the last year did not pan out. It was worse. Not only are the number of complaints higher, but the explosions were bigger and louder as well. Now, this is the nature of the beast. Purveyors of fireworks seeking greater revenues, greater sales, will always obtain bigger and louder fireworks, just so they can say that they have the biggest bang for the buck. They simply want higher sales, and from reports, this year was the best of all. It's not going to get better. Every year will be far worse than the one before, for this simple reason. They want more bangs for their buck. I believe the only thing that can be done is to ban explosive fireworks from the city limits of Sioux City. These fireworks they are selling are explosives. They're bombs, they're artillery shells. They are just as bad as the mortars used in combat. Ask the family and friends of Matisse Kavlinik, an innocent bystander who was killed when a mortar shell exploded near him. Ask the man in Council Bluffs who blew his thumb off last week because of fireworks. Both Sioux City hospitals this past weekend have treated fireworks injuries. Fireworks are dangerous explosives. They cause harm to many innocent people. Let us not wait until another dies or someone's house burns down. Please make Sioux City a safe place to live. Make Sioux City a sanctuary city for our veterans who have sacrificed so much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Hi, my name is Chris Lowe, and I live at Deer Hollow Point. And on number 25, you're thinking of changing the way things are built there, and I'm very concerned. First of all, the property behind us, there's a very narrow road that goes down behind on Roswell. You could not get a normal fire truck down there. It's too narrow. And it's dry as it's been. I'm very concerned about a fire in that area, if there was, about getting a fire truck back there, and about the fire spreading so quickly that it would come and hit the condos that are on the other side. We have all seniors that live there, and some of them are incapacitated. They only get around by their wheelchairs or by their crutches. My husband and I are blessed. Right now we're younger. We're two of the younger ones in the bunch. Out of our 52 condos, we're in our early 70s, but we have people there in their 80s and 90s. We have a fire hydrant that's at the end But for the fire department to use that and to cross over, there's a creek bed, kind of a forest area. It's narrow. It is really not great property to try to do a lot of development back there because of the road. At the end of that, with the creek bed and the forest area down there, if there were young families moved down there, it's not safe for children. It is not a really good area back there to develop, and I'm just concerned again about the danger if there was a fire. You could get a water truck down there, but you could not get a traditional, normal fire truck down there. And as dry as it's been, I'm very concerned about a fire starting back there. You know, when we had our fireworks displays, people were shooting them off way past the time limit, past 11 o'clock. They were shooting them off the two nights, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was concerned about them shooting the fireworks. If one would land, a fire would start, how would they stop the fire? I just urge you guys, please think about this before you develop down there. It is not a safe area. We have 52 condos of seniors that have retired there. We want it to be safe. Thanks, and God bless you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second. Would you get Steve to tell us how they do fight a fire down there? Thank you.
Randy Giles, 33676 South Ridge Road, Sioux City, Iowa. First, I want to say thank you, council members, for giving it a really good try with the PSAs this year. I really appreciate that. I know, especially Councilmember Moore, you pushed hard for those, so thank you. It's been 4 years since the legalization of fireworks, after 80 years of peace and quiet, after yet another 4th of July where our veterans suffering with PTSD had been terrorized, and with forced recollections of their horrors of war, and the elderly that suffered, those who have COPD and asthma, forced to breathe the smoke and the pollution from the fireworks, and the poor companion animals and the wildlife that had the wits, scared out of their wits. I believe that this 4-year experiment is a total failure. Hospitals all across the state had to deal with firework injuries from burns and to amputations. Firemen had a race to put out numerous fires started by fireworks. This is statewide, not just Sioux City. All these add to the list of the destruction caused by fireworks, and I believe it's time for us to restore peace. Fireworks have nothing to do with patriotism. That's been proved over the past 80 years when we didn't have them. There were still professional fireworks that people could go look. Some cities have even turned to silent fireworks. There are so many ways to celebrate the 4th of July: picnics, parades, concerts, public readings of the Declaration of Independence, and so many others. I really hate that the birthday of our country is celebrated by loud explosions who directly harm veterans that gave their lives and their service to protect our freedom. Please, let's bring peace back to our neighborhoods and stop the unnecessary negative effects of fireworks. Please ban fireworks once again in Sioux City city limits. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi there, Greg Giles, 33676 South Ridge Road, 51108. Not to be a one-issue voter, I'm a two-issue voter, of breed-specific legislation, which we got that overturned with the pit bull ban, and then the fireworks. You know, as I said a year ago, I grew up blowing up fireworks. I was enthusiastic about it. I did not see the error of my ways until my adulthood. It is like a war zone in certain neighborhoods. I was at my aunt's place on West 21st Street on June 22nd, the summer solstice, and it was going on early, long, and loud. We live out in the country. Needless to say, lots of people come out in the country to blow stuff up, so it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th. It's now the 12th. People are still blowing stuff up, long past the 3rd and 4th agreement that that's the only 2 days that you're going to have stuff blown up. I believe it was 84 years that Iowa had a ban on fireworks. Obviously, we can't, this is an issue that needs to be addressed at the legislature, but at least on a citywide level, if you could, the PSAs were great. I really enjoyed the fact that you, Dan, Mr. Moore, and my wife and other people were involved in those. I don't know if they were ultimately that effective because people continue to blow them up. And as Mark Solheim alluded, we had more complaints to the police than we had in the previous years. So if the city council, within their wisdom, could revisit this issue between now and next July 4th and limit the sale, if you could do a city ordinance where it limits the sale perhaps to the 3rd and 4th, instead of having that ramp-up period where
That's a
people...
state law.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
I don't
we've
think we
talked about
can.
that.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I would love to see.
Jeez. Well, then if you have lobbyists who have a foot in the door at the state legislature, it's really quite. I'm not a veteran. I do have companion animals, but man, in certain neighborhoods, it is really, really awful. I'm sure you all experienced what I'm talking about. Way past 1 o'clock in the morning at certain nights, not just the 3rd and 4th. So if you have any wisdom that can be brought about to bear, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hey, Bob, when you speak to the fire chief, would you ask him along the line of this topic? I was at a meeting last week with an assistant fire chief, and I'm pretty sure he told me there were 17 calls that they got between the 3rd and the 4th where people were injured in the city here. I'd like to confirm that and see what the nature of those were. But I know the Journal also had an article on the front page a few days back that talked about injuries, and I tend to agree with Mr. Solheim and Giles, and I think, is it Randy? I'm pretty sure Randy's the first one I heard this from some time ago, and I mentioned it once before, but I think once you will you be able to stop fireworks? I don't think so. I was on the police department for 38 years, and it was banned that entire period of time. We still got hundreds of calls, did the best we could. It's tough. But the thing that you said that keeps me thinking, and that is that good people who know what the law is will obey the law. I sometimes rate myself in the top 5 most naive cops ever. I'd buy just about any story the first time around. But I do think that the good people will obey the laws. They still have access to it. They could buy it. They could go out in the county, go to Nebraska, go to South Dakota. But I had a number of complaints from elderly veterans, pet owners. Even received one from a emergency room intensive care unit nurse who indicated to me that they need their rest because they never know when they're going to get called in. And it's really, really important to them to be able to get a good night's rest. And when the emergency happens, they go. And I tend to agree with that. And the injuries that go along with it, I would hope that good people who understand what the law is would follow the law. And maybe that's the way to approach it from here. But I think we should take a look at it, and I wouldn't be a bit opposed to voting for a ban myself personally. Will it stop it? No, but I think it will make it better. I really do. So thank you all for sharing your thoughts.
Okay. Council concerns.
I had another question, Bob. I mentioned a few weeks ago about the digital speed limit signs. I saw a new one on Floyd, and an older one coming across Gordon Drive westbound. That one I don't think is working anymore, but the one on Floyd, which I think is brand new, just has a couple of dashes on it. It never records a speed, so I don't know if it's working properly.
The lights.
It was
that's burning
initially.
up.
Yeah, it was.
Having those is like having a ordinance banning fireworks.
Say that again?
That would be like having it's not going to change behavior. You're going to only change behavior if you put speed cameras in these neighborhoods and move them around. I'm telling you, I go down Floyd Boulevard and I get so upset.
I understand.
Because people, and they fly by you on the right when you're going the speed limit in the left lane. And they've had those on Floyd, and it doesn't make any difference.
So
Because they
speed
know
cameras
they
that
can't give you a ticket.
Cameras that issue a ticket, a citation.
Just,
Well, no,
I know not everybody's for them. Listen, I don't like those cameras, but we're not going slower in this community. We're going faster, and it concerns the heck out of me because you can't go down Floyd Boulevard 55 miles an hour.
no, I agree.
It just,
I travel it daily, and I know it's a place where speed occurs. I'm pretty certain the police are running radar randomly.
and that's the problem for me is they're there doing radar more than any street I ever see them on, but it's still not changing behavior because they couldn't be there enough to issue enough tickets on that street.
Well, I know there are some who argue that when they see if the speed, if they knew it was 30 and they saw 39 up there.
They used to have it on Hamilton Boulevard, and you just drive down after you know it's not going to do anything, and you say, well, I should maybe slow down a little bit. But I don't know.
Speed's a problem.
I just, we're not, Cheyenne Boulevard's another street. There's a whole lot of them and I, move them around. We get how many complaints on Country Club Boulevard that people go too fast on Country Club Boulevard? The one guy complains up there, Indian Hills. And he's right, because.
So if we had a couple portables that we moved around that would lead to a citation.
And I don't care if the fine isn't very much, but catch their attention.
Yep, I agree.
So, anything else?
No, thanks.
Julie?
No.
Alex?
Well, I guess I feel like I have a lot of things. First, I would say the first one that was brought to my attention, I haven't been out there since it's been done. So, Bob, I would ask if you could help me follow up. I'll also shoot an email to the chief. But I was told on Riverside Boulevard they did get that painted, or at least this is what it sounds like. I haven't been out there. I'll drive out there. But
yesterday,
is it painted the 3 lanes now with the turn in the middle?
They're not. It's not finished because they've got a lot of manholes and that they're raising and that. But it's pretty well, yeah.
Okay. So having it be that, the concern that this individual had was that semis are turning down Highway 12 and driving down it, and rather than following them, presumably going the speed limit or whatever it is, he has seen on numerous occasions where people are just flooring it around in the turning lane and just driving as fast as they can to get around the semi and then continuing on. And I guess there was an accident this last week or something that was due to something behavior like that. So if you could help me follow up with the chief, I'll also try to remember to.
I'm not sure how they could have done that because there's cones at like every intersection. So maybe down south, I haven't gone past West 19, but at least it'd been difficult. Well, I suppose you could always be crazy and do it, yeah. But there is a lot of cones because they're doing a lot of manholes and that. So it wouldn't have been easy. So he was. I guess I would say if somebody did that, they would have been speeding pretty good then.
Yeah. And like I said, I was just, someone reached out to me asking if we could at least try to do or increase our enforcement in that area of watching that, especially as we go through the transition. The other thing that I would share was, we were talking about it a little bit at lunch, was that Saturday in the park, just thanking the volunteers, the committee, the individuals, the organizers. I thought that was just an excellent celebration for our community, a chance to get together, a chance to enjoy fireworks in a controlled environment. I've heard that there were fewer complaints as far as intoxication and things. I can't say that, but I would just say that overall it seemed like it was a great event, and I would just thank them very much because I understand the economic impact that things like that can have on a community. So I'm very thankful for that. I would also mention, I went recently to the arena ribbon cutting that was held up there at their facility when they became a chamber member. And then they had a tournament this last weekend. Pete was telling me about it. I would just commend them as well for being a driver for economic development in our community. They had over 200 teams.
400, I heard.
No, 400 games.
211 is what Dusty Cooper told.
200 games over, or 200 teams.
They were in Heelan, they were at West,
Yeah.
they were at
out at CNOS Field House.
They were at the Field House.
Yep. field house, all over.
Oh, yeah, Heelan, yeah.
There is an
Heelan
event coming
West,
with
I
400.
heard, the field house, my grandson played the field house twice, and
I think they're on long lines.
Yes.
they were everywhere, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
But, and what I was told is it was pretty incredible to be able to find a hotel room in town. So I think that's definitely going to continue growing. Yeah. The other thing that I just wanted to bring up, I wanted to do it at the beginning and I completely forgot, was during the prayer to have a moment of silence for Matisse that passed away. I thought, gosh, talk about I didn't know him personally or anything, but after learning a little bit about him, he was a decorated musketeer. And that's an understatement, apparently. I just would have, it was tragic. It was a tragic death. And I know that team truly felt that death and that loss, and anyone that knew him, all I hear are praises. And I just think that is really tragic. And just, I wanted to recognize that at council of a child that came into our community, made such a difference, got people so excited. I remember those games. And then for him to be tragically lost, and especially in that fashion, I think was pretty frustrating and just sad. So just ask that, if you have that family and friends in your prayers, especially our Musketeers, our team as well. The last thing that I would bring up, which I guess is kind of along those same lines, are fireworks. Obviously, I received all the emails and calls and correspondence as well, and I understand where you're coming from, Pete. I do. This is something that I battle back and forth. I just think constantly about what could be done, because I am concerned that you have an ordinance. What's going to be done? You know what I mean? Like, God bless you, Pete, for trusting that there are good people that will listen if we ban it altogether. Perhaps that are some of them, but I just really worry that we have an ordinance in place and people disrespect that or don't follow that, and we can't write enough tickets to offset, or you know what I mean, to curb that behavior. So an all-out ban, I don't know if that's going to do enough. If we would be here the next year and just even more angry that, gosh, there's an all-out ban and there's still so much fireworks, and so I don't know whether to direct my energies to the legislature, and talking to them about increasing our controls. But then I also think that that's a fool's errand almost, because, and what do? You drive 5 minutes to South Dakota and you go buy them there. So I think we're in a very precarious situation as a border community, and it's very frustrating. I want people to be able to celebrate however they see fit. I find it ironic that they're celebrating a holiday that, because of veterans, that is injuring more veterans. I mean, I understand the tragic irony there, but I don't know what the answer is. And I posed that to a lot of people in my emails or questions, and I haven't got to all of them. I'm looking at yours, Mark. I know you sent one. So I apologize if I haven't got to all the emails. But the one idea, I always try to come up with ideas or ask them what they would do. One of them was to be able to take over some of our larger parking lots and have like firework zones where you have a fire department on hand, you have some of those things. Family can rent different areas, or not even rent, just have a marked off territory. Whether you're talking the mall parking lot or something like that, and try to have those spaces. I mean, I understand that argument. I was talking about the liability, and the concern I would have is that it's like, well, if I'm a space next to someone and they're shooting bottle rockets off and one goes into my zone, like, I don't know if you have like specific fireworks that you can shoot off there. I would have to hash that out and really think about it, but I'm trying to think creatively about what those answers could be, because it's clear that having a limited time where we're asking people to be respectful, and I think I would hope that the PSAs that Councilman Moore and others worked on were effective, but it just doesn't seem to have been as effective as we had hoped, or Dan had probably hoped. That was probably a long story just to tell you I don't have the answer, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with an all-out ban, because I don't know if it would do anything, I guess is what I'm saying as well. So it's just something I wrestle with, and I will continuing to go through the emails, respond to them, continuing to give it thought. So if anyone has any ideas or anything we can do to try to be respectful of those animals. I've said it before, my grandpa, his dog had an aneurysm and passed away because of a fireworks. So I understand that plight, I truly do. But
Alex, I think, if I remember right, and you're too young, you won't remember, but the whole time that I was on the police department, Iowa did not sell fireworks. But you could go to Nebraska, you could go to South Dakota, and people did, and they had open fields over in North Sioux that they could. So, what do I think the real issue would be that would make a difference? That is, if they didn't sell fireworks in the state of Iowa. But again, currently we don't have that kind of control. It just wasn't near as bad. We got complaints, absolutely. Probably didn't write many citations. That's probably true too, because the hard part.
You really wanted to be a fireman. You wanted to be their friend.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Save the day.
You missed your calling.
I did. Wanted to, yeah. But I know the problems weren't near as bad. I don't think the injuries were near as bad as what you read today.
Fireworks weren't as.
They weren't as powerful.
They weren't as powerful.
No, but you couldn't access them. You couldn't go over to a parking lot at one of the department stores, and there virtually is a tent in every large parking lot in the city.
We can thank the gentleman from Missouri, Bella.
Yeah, probably. And after about a week, then it's 75% off, or get 4 for the price 3 free. Buy one and get 3 free or something. And it wouldn't bother me a bit, and I think that's the fastest way to reduce all the problems in Iowa. And I don't think most of the major cities in Iowa.
No, most of them are banned.
Yeah. I think
that's just it. I think this committee.
It'd be interesting to get their data and see how many complaints they had too.
What's that?
It would be interesting to get their data and see how many complaints.
Yeah.
Well, I think last year I did gather that from at least Des Moines and those, and it was astonishing. I mean, it's incredibly high as well, and I don't know their citation rate, if that's doing anything, but.
Well, that's the big problem too. You gotta have, you either have to witness it or you have to have somebody else witness it.
That's not, it better not be that way. We went all over this last year. If it's a house, just like alcohol, but your police department, they don't want to write those tickets.
Yeah, but even where there's alcohol, Mayor, you catch them in the building. And there's even a rule, or in the house, or just wherever they're at. And there's even a rule that if you're not doing anything wrong, because I used to warn my daughters all the time. I'd tell them, hey, if you go to this party, understand, even though I trust you, I know you're not going to drink. But if you're in a house where they're drinking, you're going to get fined. And guess what? Dad's not paying for it. Okay? And there'll be penalties. So, but it happens. But I understand that the owner can give permission for somebody else, but they can only do it where it's legal. You still have to have a witness. Now, I might be wrong. Unless...
I was going to say, I forget.
Practice law today.
Sure. With the change to the ordinance last year, we put it back on the property owner or the person that's in control of the property. So if you have a property owner that's out of state and you have someone that's leasing here and they're the person in charge of the property, it would go to the person that had the lease interest. But you have to have someone say that it's occurring on the property, which is the witness piece. You have to be able to prove it occurred on the property.
So if I drive up on a Tuesday night in a police car, and I'm seeing fireworks go off in the backyard, and I walk around, they stop lighting them, that's not seeing it.
That's seeing it, if you can say it happened on the property.
That's my point, and that's happening all the time.
Especially with the debris that's left.
Absolutely.
Fine.
If we want to give tickets, we can, is my point.
Shifted it to the property owner.
With but I think you still have to have somebody, maybe not, maybe I misunderstood.
If that cop drives up and fireworks are going off in that backyard, he's witnessed it, and if it's 2 days before the day or after 11:30 or whatever the time is.
So if the property owner's out of state,
then it's the tenant.
You send a citation to him? But who do you write it to?
If it's a tenant, I would guess you write it to the tenant.
Correct. We had a lot of concerns from owners of property that lease. And the goal was not to cite individuals that are out of state or not in control of it. It would be the person that lives there and has the interest in the property, has full access and control of it. That would be the person that would receive the citation.
Okay.
That's all I had, Mayor.
Okay, Dan. I too want to congratulate Saturday in the Park. It was a fantastic event, very successful. In particular, though, I want to thank co-founder Dave Bernstein. Those of you that read his letter to the editor, I think he covered everybody that was involved with Saturday in the Park, and that's one success of this city. Many successes of this city are based on volunteer work and volunteers we have. But one thing Dave Bernstein did that really jumped out at me is he remembered, I know my father, I remember when I took off to work full-time and was off his payroll, he said, just remember where you came from, son, and you'll be all right in life. And Dave gave credit to Judy Nichols and Joanne Gruskin for paving the way for doing all the hard work that needed to be done to make Saturday in the Park an existence, a real event. And I really appreciated Dave for doing that. So thank you, Dave. And thank you for your letter to the editor. And the first one he mentions in the letter is the thanks to the city. Secondly, I want to congratulate the Junior League of Sioux City. They're celebrating 100 years of outstanding service, and it's just a marvelous group. The Junior League of Sioux City does so many things, and the Sioux City Journal had a really good article that covered many of the events that I even forgot that they were involved in, and I don't know if they get the credit that they should have for all of the successes they've had over the years. And then thirdly, one of my favorite, Riverside is back, as you all know, for its 58th year. And equally important is the parade downtown. It will be August 18th. So, Julie, we got to prepare for that. August 18th. We want to make sure the mayor gets plenty.
I hope we have a small parade between now and then, and Pete and I can show you guys how to pay.
I want the mayor to be sure and get plenty of boxes of parade candy for us, Julie. And we'll try to pace ourselves. We'll do our best. But that's August 18th, and congratulations to those volunteers of Rivercade and bringing that back. There'll be a lot of excitement surrounding.
We knew you guys were in front of us handing out candy because all the kids couldn't carry the bag. It was so full.
You know, those
they
are
said,
future,
Dad, can you carry it for me?
Future voters of America. Let's remember that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mayor, can I hop in for one more thing?
You had your time.
Yeah, exactly. 3 minutes are up. No, one other thing I wanted to bring to all of your attention, because I think it's really kind of a cool initiative that we were able to pull together. Just to let you all know, we still have 2 more sessions, so I could have brought it up, but I think we've been tweeting about it and on social media, but you might not have saw that. There was a program in Des Moines that I thought was really effective, so I sent a screenshot on to Brad Newton and a couple others, and then roped myself and my boss actually to be a part of it. And what it is it's bringing interns from various companies all over the community together for some programming. So for professional development ones, they just had a panel of 7 different professionals talking to them about advice they would give for interns and how to be more successful when applying to companies, when looking for jobs. Really, I just wanted an opportunity to showcase our community and the opportunities that we have in our business industries, as well as showcasing amenities that we have. I mean, our first meeting, our kickoff meeting was in the Orpheum, and we were able to show them around that space. But it's been pretty successful, knock on wood. I hope we can grow it next year. But we actually had, I think, close to 60 participants sign up, and they were representing 32 different companies and 19 different colleges or universities, which was really, I think a big deal. And I think that a lot of them have been really excited about our community and some of those different businesses and others that have been helpful. So I'll give you guys a report at some point when all this is over. You can see the employers that participated and kind of who the players were. But it's just been kind of a neat thing to get people together. I mean, for that professional panel, that wasn't even a fun one, and that was like a more professional development. And I think we had close to 40 students that were able to make that, and they volunteered at Saturday in the Park. They went to Downtown Live, and then the finale is we're taking them all to an Explorers game. So it should be a good time. But I just remembered that. Thought I would inform all of you.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott, Waters.
Aye.
Not only were those two ladies